Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today is April 12, 2023. If you like the content, please click like button. It's just going to take you 1 second. That will help the channel grow. Thank you so much. So today we had CPI day. Today we gapped higher. Let me show you on SPY. We had a gap higher. CPI came lower than expected. We had a gap higher in the morning, and then we eventually gave back all gains. There was some news from Fed saying recession is coming, and then market dumped based on that news. Okay, now if you look at my projection, nothing changed here. Go check my videos from last couple of days, couple of weeks. This line is still how it is, and you can see a cycle low is coming. So that news today was just an excuse from markets to dump, but you can see why it's happening. There's a cycle low coming here. Now this dump will be good to buy. If you miss this pump, you should be looking to buy this dip, okay? Because I'm expecting another bullish move in late April, early May, okay? This is the sell zone. There are few gaps on SPY. If I go to SPY chart, let me show you quickly. There are two gaps here, 421 and 427. You should not be worried about a dump until we fill these gaps, okay? So don't be worried. All this is politics by Feds and money market makers, MMs. And you can also see today on daily chart, we are right on support here around 4115. This is MNQ. We'll look at SPY very soon. But if you're following me, I was telling you this is the sell zone. And you can see what's happening. We were not able to close a single candle above sell zone. Okay, we keep rejecting it from here. Looks like we need some more strength. If we get another pullback, look to buy the dip. All dips you should be looking to buy. Okay, there's a lot of support around 40, 50 to 39.50. This line here. So the lower we go, the better it is. And again, I can tell you this cycle low is around Thursday, 20th of April. So another week. It can chop around here, maybe low, a little bit lower, and then it's going to have a massive bounce, okay? Also, nothing really changed. It might look very impulsive on some of the tech stocks like Tesla sold really heavily, but SPY did not do much. You can see SPY is only 0.41%. So looks like, look at Tesla, it's like down 3.5%, okay? So a lot of red in tech stocks, but really SPY is the market, US 500. Nothing really happened, and you can see this is the 10 MA moving average. The green line is still closed above that. The price action is still above all moving averages, so nothing really changed. So although it might look like a lot changed, but it's like nothing changed from my perspective. So look to buy the dip. I'm still looking for another leg higher, okay? So don't worry about any news. In my opinion, we are going higher, and this is where we will be looking to sell, okay? So use all opportunity to buy, okay? All right, so that's on MNQ. Let's quickly look at SPY. You can see SPY. Actually, let's see on 1 hour chart, okay? There is another gap here around 403.87. There are multiple gaps. There's also small gap here around 401, and there's a bigger gap around 395, okay? All these green lines are gaps, so be careful. If we get a dip, you should be looking to buy this dip around these gaps, okay? This dip can go 403, 404. It can go as low as 401. It can even go as low as 395, okay? This will be ideal scenario. If we go as low as this, that will be the best scenario, but start slowly buying this dip because we don't know when we're going to bounce. So looking for taking profits when we reach here, okay? All right, so that's on SPY. Let's quickly look at VIX. You can see what's going on here. SPY closed red, NASDAQ closed red, all these sectors closed red, okay? You can see, let's quickly look at Dow Jones. Here, Dow Jones closed red, IWM closed red, VIX also closed red, okay? So there's this divergence on, this is contradiction, okay? VIX should be going green if S&P 500 is red. Why is VIX red? So it's possible we can get a massive bounce tomorrow. VIX is telling us that, okay? VIX had a doji candle, still not able to close above 20. Still this 20.63 is our ideal case where we need to be careful. But as of now, it looks like VIX is very down here. So we should be looking to buy the dip, okay? That's my preference. MNQ. which is Nasdaq. Let's quickly look at that. Let me show you this other chart on Thinkorswim. You can see now we are moving towards this bottom purple zone. So now we sold off from selling zone, which is around top here around 13,600, and this chart basically adapts itself. So when we were here, the purple line was right here around this top. Okay, now since we are moving higher, the chart automatically adjusts itself, but we are getting close to the buying the dip. Okay, so 12,400. So if I go back to MNQ here, 12,411 from today's close. Let's see, from today's close, 12,400 is around 4%. So that's the worst case scenario. If you get a dip like that, you should be looking to buy. But I don't want to scare you. You can see right now we are finding support on this 20 EMA and also this 12,961. Look at all these supports. We're right on support. So you should not be looking to basically dump this or short this. Okay, we are right on support. It's possible we can have a massive bounce starting tomorrow. Okay, so be mindful of that. Okay, this could be a bear trap by market makers. Okay, triple Qs. Let's go to 1 hour chart. We had a basically in the morning, let's see if we had a gap down. No, we had a gap up. Okay, we had a gap up and then we filled the gap. We were like here in the morning and then we filled this gap and we started going higher, lower, sorry. Okay, so also there was a gap here, but this was filled before. Also there's another gap here around 307. So it's possible we can slightly more sell off, fill this gap and then bounce. Okay, you can see also this trend line here. Look to buy on this trend line. Okay, so if you get more dump here, you can always look to buy on this trend line. Okay, but as of now, this looks like it's a good support area here. Okay, you can see support, support, support. So it's right on support. So you should not be looking to sell on support. You should be looking to buy on support, sell on resistance. Okay, again, my targets are 322 and 328. Still, those are not filled. Okay. All right. So let's moving along. US 30 almost flat. Look for a little bit of more cool down here. Okay, it's possible you can get a little bit more cool down than a pump higher. Okay, US 2000, this is my chart here. I'm looking for equal lows or even lower low. This is a significant risk around mid time frame. Now since US 2000 is going low around May, it can put pressure on SPY. Okay, it can put pressure on SPY around May. So let's quickly look at this chart here. This is MES chart. So around May, you can see this pullback is going to be very consistent with this weakness in US 2000. So that can drag S&P 500 down as well. Okay, so be mindful of that. All right. Crude oil, very bullish move today. Very surprising. It's right on resistance now around 83 bucks. You can see resistance, 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 right on resistance. Massive gap here. Looking for cool down and then eventually massive risk coming here around June. So looking for selling opportunities on this. Natural gas was down. I will show you something on 1 hour chart. You can see there's a gap here. Okay, this gap was created on Sunday, April 9th. Okay, it gapped up and there's still this gap. So it is possible we can come down, fill this gap before going higher. Okay, so it is possible we can come down here, fill this gap and then we move higher. Okay, so be mindful of that. So this is going to be a good opportunity to buy around 2.1, right, on natural gas. Bitcoin, again, it was pumping, still divergence on PPO and RSI. Until these divergences are gone, I think there's significant risk for a dump. Okay, again, you should look to buy on this trend line. Now we're going higher, so the support trend line can move a bit higher. Okay, so look to buy on any dips on this trend line near 25k support. All right. Ethereum, same thing. You can see divergence on RSI and PPO. Price going higher with divergence. So look to buy any dips on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Okay, this is a bullish chart. Crypto is a bullish chart right now. So just be aware of that. Okay, this is futures, Bitcoin futures. You can see cycle low is coming around 15th or 12th of May. And it's almost topping out. So we could get a pullback, which could be consistent with US 2000, which is IWM. Here, you can see similar patterns here around May. This is also, I'm looking for a pullback around May. So we can have some weakness together here. And we can find even the support trend line price coming back to that and then a bounce. All right. Ethereum, a massive gap here. Still quite a far away, but you can see cycle low is coming around June, so it is possible we can come close to filling this gap. Okay. Again, divergence on PPO and RSI, so still we're going higher on a wall of worry. Dollar keep dumping. You can see dollar dumped, VIX dumped, stock market dumped. Something is wrong. Okay, so it sounds more like a trap to me than anything else. Okay, so I think there's also this weakness here coming around 13th of July, so look for dump there. Gold was pretty bullish, but again, I'm not interested in buying at these levels. Okay, you can see massive divergence on RSI, PPO still not divergence yet, but I'll be only looking to buy around 1900 support. Okay, silver massive move, new highs. I don't see any divergence on PPO or RSI, so it's looking very bullish, but with gold going lower, I'll be looking for some weakness on silver as well. Okay. TNX is mortgage rates, still finding support on this trend line. Okay, this white trend line, I'm looking for lower prices on mortgage. So mortgage should be going down. Bonds, basically a dodgy candle, but if we find weakness in S&P 500, that could drag bond market as well. Okay, so it's going to set up a really very nice buying opportunity. Gold miners were up. Okay, at one point we had a massive gap up, but it came down. You can see massive gap up. It came down to fill the gap. This gap here around 34.01. There's another gap around 29.16. So I'm not interested in buying gold miners at this time. I'll be looking for maybe when gold is at around 1900. So I will be looking to buy at that time. All right. Let's look at some sectors. Okay. XLE. You can see XLE is again flat. You can see oil was up almost 2%, 2.5%, but XLE is flat. So I'm looking for some weakness. Okay. This first cap is around 82.85, 80.84, and then eventually my final target is 71.55. XLU kind of flat, kind of flagging. Look to buy any pullbacks. Okay, all these are the gaps you should be looking to buy. XLV, which is healthcare, flat again, looking for pullback. You should be buying all the dips. XLF, weakness today. There's significant risk around May, so I'm looking for equal lows or lower low. That will be a good opportunity to buy financial sectors. XLI, gaps here. I think there's another gap created here today, so let's draw that. There was a gap created here, so look to buy on these pullbacks. Okay, on XLI, real estate sector, weakness today. Look to buy any of these weakness. And somebody asked me to look at XLK. Let's quickly look at that sector. You can trade it like triple Qs. You can see this gap is filled now. So basically very same as triple Qs. You can do the same now. You can see almost very similar chart. Okay, so I don't think it's worth doing XLK right now. All right, and let's look at Tesla. Although we are down 3.5%, I'm very happy. The reason I tell you, there were multiple gaps which were not filled, and today we filled most of these. Okay, there was this gap here we filled. Okay, and then there was another gap. I have to find where it is. I deleted it in the morning. I think there was a gap here. Let's see if I can find this gap. Yeah, there was a gap here. Okay, you can see a gap here. It was also came and filled. Okay, so two gaps were filled. So you can see this gap was not fully filled. We filled this gap, we filled that gap, so we can get rid of that. So now also we had a gap up here, around here. You can see there was a gap here. And on top, we filled even that gap in the morning. Okay, we opened up on gap up, and then eventually we filled all these gaps. Now there is a massive gap here around 206. Okay, that's my target. It's possible we can get to that by earnings. Okay, around 14% upside. So be mindful of that. Although it's a bearish candle, looks really bearish. Also, you have to remember, worst case, there's a big gap around 145. So you need to be mindful of that. And earnings are right around the corner. I think around 19th of April, which is next week. Okay, so it's possible we can get a pump, and based on earnings, if earnings are good or bad, if earnings are bad, we might open right on here and fill this gap. Or if earnings are good, we will be pumping way higher. Okay, Let's see if there is anything, any clues we can find on 30 minutes chart. No divergence on 30 minutes chart. 15 minutes chart, still no divergence. So yeah, it's still looking bearish. 5 minutes is showing some divergence on PPO. You can see it's making new lows with higher momentum on PPO and RSI, but this is very short term. So overall, chart is looking really bad, and you can see this is resistance trend line on daily, which came right onto that resistance and got rejected. Okay, and it kind of engulfed previous two candles, so it's a bullish, a bearish price action. But I think we are right on support. You can see support here, right on support right now. Okay, so I'm not looking to short. It is possible we can get a massive pump starting tomorrow with all these only one gap to the downside, all these gaps to the upside. So we've got to be mindful of that. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at Apple. Basically, I did not change anything. You can see it's now right on this trend line. You can see this white trend line, support, 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 right on this trend line. So it's ready to bounce. Okay. Also, it's on this 20 EMA white line. So it's possible we can bounce very soon from here. Okay. Amazon, basically very close to this gap fill, still did not fill. So tomorrow, possible we can fill this gap and then bounce. Okay. So look to buy Amazon on dips. Google, I did not change anything. You can see I was expecting some weakness. It's right on this 10 MA green line. So it's right on support. It's possible today was the last day to buy, and then it's possible we can bounce from here as well. Okay. Meta was green, surprisingly. Again, there are gaps here. So look to buy any weaknesses. Netflix was down 2%. Looks like there was this gap which got filled. You can see this gap was here around 332 that got filled. And there's another gap here around 323. It's possible we can find some more weakness and then bounce. Okay. Microsoft was green. There are multiple gaps still not filled. So it is possible we can fill one of these gaps. Okay. And then bounce, but there are multiple gaps to the top side. Snowflake also, I'm very happy. It was up almost 2.5% in the morning. Then it gave down everything. There was a gap on Snowflake around here. Okay. It gapped up, but then eventually it filled the whole gap. Okay. And now there's another gap here around 146. Okay. So now no gaps to the downside, all gaps are to the upside. Another gap around 164. So we can get a massive pump from here. Nvidia, basically right very close to this trend line. Okay. This white trend line. So right on support, should not be looking to short here. AMD, let's quickly right on support again. You can see this trend line right on there, so it's possible we can bounce from here. So yeah, so overall things are looking good. Somebody told me to look at Baba. Let's quickly look at Baba if she can find anything here. I haven't charted this, but let's quickly look at that. Multiple gaps here on Baba, so eventually I'm looking for at least this gap to fill. Okay, it's very close to that gap. Let's quickly look at 1 hour chart. Okay, actually this gap is around here. This gap is around here, around 86. Okay, and also there's another gap here around 81. Okay, so at minimum I'm looking for basically if I go to 1 hour chart, really sold out, oversold here. So it's possible we can go down from here to fill one of these gaps before we bounce higher. So be mindful of that. It doesn't have to happen now. Also, there's a lot of support on this 200 EMA. But since we have this massive gap, more likely we're gonna fill this gap. That will be my buy target before a bounce. Okay, so look to buy around 86 at minimum. It can go as low as 81. So be mindful of that. But look to buy around here. Okay. Also, there's a gap around here in the top here. Okay. So that could be your target to take profits, okay, around 116. All right. Okay, guys, on your way back, if you're still watching till now, please click the like button. It's going to take you 1 second and it will help the channel grow. Thank you and have a great rest of the day, and see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.